be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal. So I asked the question, are you better than a child molester? I've discovered over the 30 years of counseling, the one thing that's missing, and I think because it's not taught in the homes or talked about, we don't have examples of it, right? Is love. Our theme this year is to bring back Christianity, to love God with all our heart, soul, and might, our neighbor as ourselves, and to endure. And there, when you're in a fallen state, people will judge the molester but think they're better than the molester. And I ask, well, why do you think you're better? When I realized it doesn't matter what you think about yourself or how much you have or don't have or how you accomplish things in life or don't. If you have no love, you have nothing. I have books that are amazing. I highly recommend you get them. 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. Even if you're not starting a business, but you have a job or you're on welfare, it can help you if you do. Be doers of the word, all right? From rage to responsibility. From rage. That's what I write about in the first chapter, especially how I overcame. Scam. How the black leadership exploits black Americans. They're using them, and blacks are too willing to be used. And then my last book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. They are all amazing books, and they are helpful. Go to rebuildingtheman.com if you want an autographed copy, or call 800-411-2663. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on America's soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby. This is my show. How you doing, everybody, on this fine Thursday? Week's going by fast. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to be back on this fine Thursday. I'm the American Anchor Baby, and I got a bit of a show for you. Okay, we're going to be getting into it. Did you guys watch Tucker versus Ted? Was it interesting to you? Know, I want to get into that just a little bit because I thought I saw something that I don't really see anybody saying, and so you'll let me know. I'm quite positive that I see this. I don't doubt that I see this, but I don't hear anybody. You'll let me know. Am I the only one, or am I dumb? Look, Tucker versus Ted Cruz, Republican senator, was on Tucker, and they were getting into it about this war, Iran, and all that, and it was billed as this major opposition, big conflict, and a big journalistic victory, and that Tucker really laid into him. I want to say something about it, so we'll get into this. Plenty to get into today concerning all this. Okay, the nukes, Tulsi, a number of news items that have gone by fast that require maybe some attention, you know, like Tulsi saying, like this whole thing about Tulsi and the DNI being in opposition with Trump, that they're saying Iran doesn't have a nuke, and Trump is saying, yeah, they do. So we're going to clear that up. We're going to clear a couple things up. What I can clear up, the news is moving so fast. You know me, I'll tell you what I don't know. But I can give you a couple of segments here that at least clear some things up here, in my opinion. And you could call in about a number of things. I see your calls coming in now, 888-775-3773. You got something on your mind, something you want to discuss, I'd be happy to take your call. I see you coming in already, a number of you. Thank you. That's 888-775-3773. But what else here? Look, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to be back. Thursday, popping off. Friday, we'll be back, of course. Don't know what we'll get up to tomorrow. But make sure you are liked, subscribed. Don't be rude, okay? Come on in, say hello. You're subscribed. Maybe hit the notification bell. That way you're up to date with what happens on this channel. But other than that, appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Welcome to my viewers on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, punchy.tv/Anchor Baby, and of course my viewers on YouTube. Let's see what else here. Look, welcome to the show. I do want to jump into it. There's a number of things I want to jump into and get her done. Okay, so welcome to the show. We'll be getting to the super chats and all the support in a moment. What else here? Yeah, super chats, buymeacoffee.com/Anchor Baby. Amazing. You guys some of you already watched the Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson interview. Some of you are saying, Lion Ted. You call him Lion. Ted Cruz was being treasonous. We got some comments here, live comments from my audience. Pardon. And so I watched it too. It was interesting. It was fascinating because there was so much I don't know. It was very educational, honestly, on previous conflicts and a number of things. Also on how the people in the media, in politics, see the world. Okay. And it is important to me because there's this criticism and dissent and this divide, which I'm not saying is not real. I see it online. I see it, the supporters, etc., with questions wondering, what's this Iran war mean? Who's really pushing it along? And what will it all mean for America? Who can we trust, etc.? So that's why this is and what's important to me about it is that even though you're going to see Tucker and Ted have this dissent and he's going to ask him these tough questions, I noticed something which was right at the beginning. It was right at the beginning, and then it's throughout the whole interview. Tucker doesn't disagree with Ted, like at all. At the core. And you got to understand why this is interesting, because you got to understand how this was billed. The little clip came out, Tucker asking him, do you know how many people are in Iran? He's like, I don't know. So you don't even know how many people there are in this country? You want to enact regime change? And so the clip went out. Everybody's like, wow, these neocons. Tucker got them. Neocons. We don't want foreign wars. What does this Ted Cruz guy want? We don't want foreign wars. We want to disentangle. We want to isolate. And it seems like everybody missed it. He says it right at the beginning. He totally agrees. He does not disagree with Ted at all. He tells him, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I could not agree more. About what? About global regime change. I'll play it for you in a bit here. So a little bit of the preface as we go into this clip, the first few minutes, I guess, of this interview. We'll try and go through it a little quick. But I guess some preface. As you know, there's this major attention with Iran. I mean, as of now, there's a number of U.S. aircraft carriers in the region, and all signs point to a massive collection of military assets for conflict, is what it looks like. And so people are wondering, is it going to be limited? Boots on the ground? Will it be regime change, or are you just striking the nuclear facilities? Is it a preemptive strike, or is it defense? Is it Iraq all over again? Are we getting boots on the ground? Will Americans have to risk their lives for what, they say? And so this was the big interview, right? He's coming at him. He's like, we're going to, hey, Ted, you want a regime change, but, you know, that's, right, he's like based, and let me just switch screens here. He's based and like giving it to Ted, right? Oh, we're revealing just how paid he is. And by the way, I learned a lot. Like, this was an educational thing. This interview was an hour plus, like 2 hours long. And in it, they cover a number of things. You know, all the things I heard about, rumors about, like AIPAC and influence of foreign countries, namely Israel here. But there's a number of conclusions made from that, and I can't just go along with until I know, sincerely. But check this out. Let's start with what I know. Let's start with here, or what I was seeing here. Ted Cruz here is talking with Tucker Carlson, and he's, let me just kick it off here, try and remember where I was with this interview. Tucker here, pulling it up, bringing up the volume.
Very much.
And he kicks it off. He kicks it off tough, like, hey, so you came out with a regime change for Iran.
Spending the time to have this conversation.
It's good to be with you.
So you've come out for regime change in Iran, as distinct just from taking out the nuclear sites. What does regime change look like in Iran?
Somebody else in charge.
How do you get there?
Look, that ultimately has to be a popular uprising from the people. And it's not a complicated question. Is America better off with a country that has a leader who hates us and wants to kill us? Or to have a country with a leader who likes us and wants to be friends with us? And
definitely the latter's better.
Of course.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's not a...
There it is right there, but he goes, honestly, you can see it all throughout. He just full-throated, I totally agree. We should regime change. We shouldn't have enemies abroad. We should change these people, the leadership of these places.
Complicated statement. Look, I believe you look across the world when you have countries that have dictators that are viciously anti-American.
Yeah, MP, I watched the entire thing.
Venezuela, Maduro hates us. Would we be better off with Maduro out of power? Absolutely. I want our enemies out of power, and I want our friends in power.
I could not agree more.
I could not agree more. Let me just show you a little more.
There.
Of course.
And we've been trying to kill Maduro for quite some time.
He has his questions about how maybe, you got to understand the core here.
Trying to kill Maduro.
Yeah, we have. And I think you know that. And
I don't know that.
Okay, well, as a statement of fact, we have. So
we do have massive sanctions. We tried to pressure him out of office.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of it.
Quibbling about the details, but they agree. The U.S. is very interested in their enemies abroad.
I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure coming from various parts of the U.S. government on that government, and it's still there.
Yeah.
Same, the country of your ancestors, Cuba, 1959, we've been working on that. Hasn't worked. So it's. I think we both agree it's hard to do.
So you're getting a little bit here, right? I'm going to skip a bit because Ted goes into the differences and where they agree. He goes on this thing of like, hey, Tucker, listen, guys, you and I, we've always been friends on 80% of things. So he goes on this thing where he's, I don't know, like a little bit of a PR thing. Whatever, it's an interview. Let me not over focus on every detail. The point is, I'm trying to skip a bit here, so let me just give it to you. What happens in these minutes? He goes on and tell him, hey, We agree 80%, Tucker, pretty much on everything. But on foreign policy, we may disagree. And if basically, to summarize, the way I describe myself, Ted, is saying I'm an isolationist hawk. He says I'm an isolationist hawk, and he goes through some of the history of America's conflicts. And Tucker is agreeing and all that. So here we get to the point where he's describing philosophically, I guess, where he stands with foreign policy. He describes it as an isolationist hawk. It's an interesting thing, right? Contradictory statements. Isolationist, but a hawk, right? Ready for war. But he describes it. Let's let him define it and speak for himself.
I would say, if you'll allow me to get a little theoretical, and then I'm happy to get specific.
Yes.
For a long time, people had perceived two different poles of Republican foreign policy. There have been interventionists, and those have been people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham and George W. Bush. And there have been isolationists. And the most prominent of those have been Ron Paul and Rand Paul, and there are others. And people perceive those are the two choices. You got to be one or the other. I've always thought both were wrong. I don't agree with either one. The way I view my own foreign policy...
I'm with you, by the way, for whatever it's worth. I agree with you.
Okay, good.
I agree with everything you said.
I don't know who set up that binary, but there are lots of choices, actually.
I mean, people sort of naturally fall into... I think they want to classify people, and they're like, okay, you're one or the other, and you got to be all or nothing. And the interventionists, it seems, have never seen a country they didn't want to invade, and that doesn't make any sense to me. And the isolationists, I think, don't take the threats to America seriously. And I think that's naive and it doesn't work. And so my view, I consider myself a third point on the triangle. And what I describe that as is that
Come on, Ted. Come on. We got a show.
I'm a non-interventionist hawk.
Oh.
Which sounds a little weird, but what do I mean by that?
So he said non-interventionist hawk, not isolationist hawk. Apologies.
I mean the central touch point for U.S. foreign policy and for any question of military intervention should be the vital national security interest of the United States. How does this make America safer? How does this protect Americans? If it does, we should be strong. And actually, another way of conceiving what I'm saying, I'm speaking theoretically, but Reagan referred to it as peace through strength. And actually, I think Donald Trump's foreign policy is very much what I'm describing, a non-interventionist hawk, where he understands that, and I think this is historically true, the best way to avoid war is being strong. That weakness and isolationism, I think, encourages war. So going back to regime change, where you started in Iran.
Just to make, I don't think I disagree with anything you've said. So we may not be that far apart, really.
I don't think I disagree with anything you said. We may not be that far apart. Yeah, because you're not. Because at the core, you don't disagree. And it was right at the beginning, and it's throughout the whole interview. And you got to understand, it was built as this, right, he's bringing him down. He's totally in opposition. This is journalistic integrity. He's asking him the hard questions. But again, they don't disagree. And there were hard questions, enlightening questions. But you see how there's something about, I don't know, ideological. I don't know what it is that it doesn't make sense here. They are talking about the same thing. They may be quibbling about what to do when or whatever, but they both don't want the nukes there. They see they're cool with regime changing any enemy. And that might be I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm not giving a moral statement on this. I'm just laying it out for those that didn't even know that this is how the people think in the world. Because you're online, you're thinking Tucker is an isolationist. And you're out there mad on the internet saying, yeah, disentangle, isolate. No foreign wars. And I get that. I get the no foreign wars part. I mean, Trump even said that. I think as of now, I know it's getting increasingly difficult for some to say, but you got to stay with the reality. As of now, there's no wars started by Trump. But take this and what I'm trying to say, really besides that. This whole isolation that people are going viral and mad about right now, they're watching Tucker and seeing this, and I think they're seeing something that's not there. It's this isolation standpoint that's the only America First position. an objective impossibility, at least at this point, or a lie at worst. Because understand what I'm focusing on here. It's not a matter, right? It's not a matter of, did we get lied to by Trump about isolating and not being entangled and all that? Consider that it's just not true. That's just not true, and it never has been, at least not for our lifetimes. America as a great power, a waning great superpower maybe, the greatest superpower, there is no isolation. There hasn't been any, not as far as we know. Maybe there is a future. Maybe there is a future of a splendidly isolated U.S. like Great Britain was once upon a time, like some isolationists argue for today. Maybe in the future, but the truth is that even under Trump and every president before him, left or right, Republican, Democrat, there's sure not a kinetic war. Now, depends on the president, right? With Trump, no kinetic war, right? No boots on the ground, no Iraq. But isolation, no wars. America's been in a constant war, seemingly, with its enemies. And I don't even know why I put quotation marks, but in many cases, they were total enemies. America has been entangled, like, you know what I'm saying here? Like warring, sure, without guns, but warring economically, committing war against their enemies, regime changing. You go back to the 1953, CIA-backed coup ousted Prime Minister Mossadegh. Iran, Guatemala. This is the Cold War era for you. Vietnam, Cuba, Chile, Laos and Cambodia, secret bombings, proxy wars. Indonesia, the 65, the 80s, Nicaragua, Contra rebels. Afghanistan, the Middle East, right? Post-Cold War era, the war on terror. Iraq, Somalia, Yugoslavia, Afghanistan, Iraq. From the get-go, it seems, and I didn't even know if I saw all this, right? But now that I'm seeing it, it'd be kind of crazy for me to get mad. It's like, what, nobody told me? It's like, no, I wasn't informed. It seems, there's clips, and it's Trump talking about it from the get-go, saying, we're not going to have a nuke in Iran. It's not going to happen. Under Trump, military interventions, Syria, missile strikes on Assad. It's kind of a fantasy that I think some people are believing it too. Now, what's this fantasy I'm talking about? What they're seeing in this Tucker interview and this, isolationists? They're not there. They're not there. Now, others are just much simpler. Like they saw Trump say the Iraq war was a mistake. And so they're kind of just there. But where was I? About Tucker. I think he knows what's going to go viral. He moved his show to X. He knows the conversations. I see them on X every day. People are talking about, he said no wars. We need isolation. And so Tucker comes in. Call me a cynic, but let's just consider the substance here. The dude is like, yeah, I absolutely agree with practically everything you're saying. It's just, I just got a question for you. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. They get into the Iraq war. And I want to move on because I don't want to spend forever on Tucker, and I got calls and all that, but because I know this one's interesting. It's interesting to me because that's like one aspect of this of this whole thing. If you get past any kind of shallow, all or nothing positions, what am I saying with that? Let me move on from that. But what I'm saying is, another aspect of this is the repeat of history, and we do have a little bit of that to look upon, like Iraq, like boots on the ground, the Americans that died, the refugees, right? Islam is an evil religion. Islam is they want to destroy, but they say death to America. But let's just, when they're here, they're your American citizen neighbors and brothers, practicing free speech and freedom of religion, so calm down. So it's a crazy. So I can understand this attention to that, like what is going on. But when I listen to these guys and Trump and all that, they've been thinking about this for a long time, for I think more than I have, sincerely. So where was I on this? Is it Bush all? Oh no, I'm past all this. Yeah, they don't disagree. Do you see that? It's a bit of a media hype thing going on here with Tucker and Ted. Now the questions there were interesting things, enlightening things about what else? What else? There was this moment about sanctions and Russia. We'll probably leave that for later. We'll see if we can leave that for later. Kind of more fun filler section after all my important segments, all the important stuff. So let me do this one real quick, and then I'll get to my calls, 888-775-3773. On the nukes, the question of the nukes. In fact, I'll start it off with this, actually. The Tulsi versus Trump thing. Now, you by now know Israel did their Operation Rising Lion and strike Iran with drones and other things and ballistic missiles and did damage and started a kinetic war between Iran and Israel. Pretty major stuff, I think. and it happened. They say, according to Israel, they're saying, well, we got intelligence basically that they really are going to do it this time. They're going to build this bomb, and so we had to do it. And we were waiting. Trump, you were negotiating 60 days. There's a contention over who drove this part of the foreign policy event. Was it Israel bombing and forcing Trump's hand, and now he's got to I don't know, say, yeah, no, I knew it was going to happen, but darn, Israel shouldn't have done that. It really was really trying to make a deal with Iran. I don't know. There's some contention over that, but where was I? Concerning the nukes and nuclear weapons in Iran. There was this video that went around, and it was a reporter asking Trump about Tulsi Gabbard and her March testimony with the intelligence community about how Iran basically is not pursuing a nuclear weapon. And this was just merely in March. So you got this reporter asking Trump about that.
Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community...
Tulsi Gabbard testified in March.
Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close. And I'm like, whoa, Trump is siding with, this is, you hired her to defeat the deep state. Trump is siding with the deep state. What's going on? Well, I'll let you make your conclusions. Like, again, I'll tell you what I'm ignorant about. But the point is, let me tell you the news here. Look, she's saying that she and President Trump are on the same page. And here's basically the news about this, because in her the ODNI report, the ODNI threat assessment regarding Iran, yeah, there was a threat assessment back in March saying something about Iran's nuclear timeline being 3 years away and a number of things. But there's been development since then. And Tulsi is saying, in response to some of this news, Trump and I are on the same page. In fact, you can go read her full ODNI threat assessment. And yeah, it posted right here. She does, in fact, although she does say the Supreme Leader has not authorized this nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003, we are closely monitoring if they reauthorize this nuclear program. However, in the past year, we've seen the erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates inside of Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpiles at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons. Iran continues to seek expansion of its influence in the Middle East despite the degradation to its proxies and defenses during the Gaza conflict. Iran has developed and maintains ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, UAVs, systems capable of striking U.S. targets. Tehran has shown a willingness to use these weapons, including during a 2020 attack on U.S. forces in Iraq and in attacks against Israel in April and October 2024. Hamas, you know that one. Iran's cyber operations and capabilities also present a serious threat to U.S. networks and data. So that's just the news for you for those that were maybe panicking. Panicins. Didn't Trump talk about panicking? But that's not, I don't know if I'm really saying much with that. I just think it's fair to give you the news here that that's what's going on. Now, you could say, oh, she was asked to do that. This is the initial assessment was there, but some trickery had to happen for this to be presented this way. I don't know. You'll have to prove it and say it, but this is the correction on this news. It's just fair. It's just the truth here. So Tulsi's saying that. She's on the same page with Trump. And I'm bringing up the nukes too because this is interesting. A couple of conservative commentators have been going around recently showing how Trump has been saying that Iran can't have a nuke for a while. And they're expressing how essentially, they're just expressing how this has been his position. I think Steven Crowder here. Whoa, bro. That's a loud ding.
Trump.
I think Steven Crowder here with one segment
has
showing a tweet here. I'll just show quickly the tweet about Iran. Iran's quest for nuclear weapons is a major threat to our nation's national security interests. We can't allow Iran to go nuclear. This is 2011. And he shows a clip of Trump when he came down the escalator, right after getting off the escalator, goes on stage to give a speech and says this.
Take a look at the deal he's making with Iran.
Talk about Obama.
He makes that deal.
June 16th, 2015.
Israel maybe won't exist very long. It's a disaster, and we have to protect Israel. I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons.
So I'm bringing this up because, look, I gather the controversy. And I tie this with even Tucker's, even though I criticized Tucker there, I tie this with the enlightening parts of his conversation, like when he asked him about, well, what does AIPAC lobby for and stuff like that. Look, I gather the concern and what's bothering people, rubbing people the wrong way is some sort of what's the word? I guess the changing of positions of these mainstream conservative Con Inc. They'll call them. They're pivoting. Their Con Inc. is pivoting. First it was no war with Iran, but now it's Trump's always been consistent. He's cool with he's saying Iran can't have a nuke. Look, that's a fine discourse, I think. But a little bit second, not second. It's primary in the conversation of sovereignty and influence. Fine, but there's a lot of unconvincing stuff there. But on the topic of nuclear proliferation, to be frank, as it goes, what I'm trying to say here is everyone agrees here. Okay, so put it like this. Let me just put out a question on this. Conning, pivoting. Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. Showing some call came from up top. There's people who really believe in that. There's some people out there. They got ideas in their heads, but so that's the concern. Okay, you heard me say that's the concern, but I'm just the anchor baby listening to this crowd or looking at his tweets, looking at how he's been saying this. So on the substance, can Iran have a nuke or not? And it's an interesting question because even the dissenters, they all agree. You know, even the dissenters, the people criticizing, Tucker Carlson, Nick J. Fuentes, they all agree that Iran can't have a nuke, that it is an America first. I heard him say it was America first position, possibly to not let Iran have a nuke. And why am I bringing him up too? If you think that's silly, if you think that's a silly thing to bring up, you're not paying attention, right? I was at AFPAC at his thing, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was a speaker there. See, these people, and I'm showing you Matt Gaetz, who I guess now works for OAN. He's a reporter over there. You know, these people, they're very aware of like viral things and the people who are leading conversations. And for whatever you could say about Nick, I think you can still have to contend with it. He puts together interesting reports. I don't necessarily agree, but the point is, even the dissenters, they all say that Iran can't have a nuke. So on the substance of it, and why am I bringing this up? This is Matt Gaetz doing this big report about Israel. If you think the world is, look at this. If the world is interested in a secret nuclear program in the Middle East, there's a country that doesn't allow any inspections. It's Israel. And he has this segment here with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I guess it's supposed to be this hard-hitting segment. Like, okay, guys, yeah, they want to make us worry about Iran having a nuke? You know who doesn't let inspections happen? Yeah, Israel. And I guess it's supposed to be this hard-hitting segment. Like, people here in the comments like, pretty cool that OAN isn't making you ride the fence on this. My respect for you has gone tremendously. What is he saying here? He's basically saying, because Israel has a nuke, we should just give Iran a nuke. Look, buddy, even the dissenters, the smart ones, don't agree with you. Like, you're just not thinking about it. So on the topic, on the substantive part of the question, can Iran have a nuke or not? Seems many don't want them to have a nuke. So where was I? These were the things I was thinking about today. The nukes, Trump, Tucker. These were kind of the things most interesting to me today. I want to get to my calls. I have a number of fun things here for today's Thursday show that we can get into as we move on. But what else? That's pretty much what I had to say, right? Let me see. What are y'all saying? What are y'all saying in the chats? Amazing. Thanks for your calls. Let me get to you guys. 888-775-3773. I want to get to Robert out of Kansas. Appreciate your call, Robert. You're on the air.
Hello, Nicholas. Thanks for taking my call, brother. Hope
yes,
you're
sir.
well.
All is well, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Are nukes even real, huh? I mean,
bro,
I'm not.
You on that? Are you on that or no?
No, I'm just saying, like, if they were, it seems like somebody would have utilized them by now.
You think so? But didn't they use them in Hiroshima?
Well, hey, ain't that interesting, huh, Nick? Hey, brother, like, I'm a little older than you, I think. You're like 30-something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you're like a little younger than me, and you.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't around when that bomb got blown up.
But you guys were talking about IQ this morning, right? Like,
were you around when that bomb dropped Hiroshima?
No, bro. I'm like.
Are you saying that's possibly not true? That bomb even happened?
Well, I certainly think that Japan was put down in terms of the way that they were, but I don't know if the narrative is exact. Like, when they fake a moon landing, guys, like, you got to kind of question the other things, right? So I don't know,
man. I do want to move on. I don't, okay. And it's not because you're not allowed to talk about this. If you had an interesting single point that we could go on to that proves what your position, I'd be happy to hear it. But I definitely don't. I joke around with the conspiracy stuff, but I want to say this clearly for my audience. I do think nukes aren't real, flat Earth. It's been a huge distraction and very detrimental for people, to the mental health, even for some people. Now, and I'm not naming anyone specifically at all. I just wanted to say that. But that being said, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the dummy who doesn't get it. You'll have to prove it. What do you want to say? Go ahead. Next thing.
Well, I want to move on to something maybe that's more substantial in terms of you were talking about this morning about IQ, and let's say like they they claim that you have the highest IQ in the studio, right, Nick?
I was talking about IQ.
Well,
I remember on the JLP show.
Hake and Jesse, and they were talking about
they're just gassing me up. If you knew me, I'm a dummy.
But they were claiming that you have a high IQ, and that's the thing.
That's because Lin Yin Chin said that.
Lin Yin Chin has figured it out, and I believe him. Lin Yin is in terms. I defer to him. Okay, I think he's right. And what I want to let you know, brother, is that it really is like a processing power it doesn't mean you have wisdom. It doesn't mean you have understanding. It means that you can process information very quickly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
I think that's how I see it.
And you do have that. So over time, you're going to gain more and more knowledge and understanding and wisdom because you can process faster. And so,
Maybe.
I called in.
We'll see what the future holds.
Well, when I called in, I told Derek Bobby Fisher, and this is all I want to talk about as far as high IQ.
The chess player?
And the
Bobby
chess player,
Fisher.
yes, sir.
I've been meaning to watch this
play
movie
chess?
about him.
You play chess?
My buddy, no, not like my buddy, but I do play with my buddy every now and again still, and he's super into it, taught me a lot.
No, but you know how to play.
Yes.
Okay. So, that it's a thing about IQ that you think, or whatever, intelligence, that you think it's a good thing. And in so many ways it is. And at the same time, it is an absolute burden if you can understand the things around you that others can't. And Bobby Fischer, I think, in terms of an example, he ended up dying an alcoholic, I think.
Bobby Fischer, huh? All that
yeah,
IQ. Darn.
And he had like 186 or whatever it was. Like he beat everybody at chess, right? Like if you can play chess, and you know, I'm not. That's the thing. I say I play chess, but I'm not like a good chess player. But I have had good chess players tell me that I am one of the most frustrating people they've ever played. Like
Can't read you, man. You'll do anything.
Well, it's just like I just do random things, and they're just like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And they, you know.
You don't even know what you'll do next. That's your greatest superpower.
Dude, just God coming right through, and just whatever He wants, right? But yeah, bro, Bobby Fischer.
Allegedly.
I think what's great about the man is that at the end of his life, this extremely intelligent man, he started saying, the biggest problem we have is Israel.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are destroying America are Israel.
Mm-hmm.
He kept at it, and to the point where they were like, well, he's like,
you mean the Bobby
Russia
Fischer I'm about to watch a Netflix thing on? It was like super anti-Israel.
Well, no. He just didn't want America to be destroyed, and he knew where it was coming from.
I swear, this guy has a movie on Netflix. You're telling me this guy was like I guess they have documentaries on Henry Ford. So what am I saying?
Well, no, he just knew where the threat was coming from.
Right, I'm just expressing a surprise of a mainstream of Netflix, putting together a thing on Bobby Fischer. You wouldn't think this guy is everything you're saying.
Yeah.
You didn't say much. You're just saying that he was very vocal about Israel being a problem. So go on. Where were you?
Well, every time I start talking, Nick, you interrupt me. But
I had to throw that in, but now we're back, so keep going.
Okay, so Henry Ford, right? Henry Ford mentioned what he mentioned is an international clique of bankers that have no nation, right? So whenever you guys see all this nationhood warfare, right, like this nation versus this nation, China, Russia, America, let's say those are the three big players, right? We got India, whatever. But when you understand that there is an international government, right, like you don't work for a government, Nick. You don't work for a person. You don't work for only the thing you work for is money. And that's the same with everybody internationally. And one of the only nations who doesn't pay taxes to the money men and the devil worshippers of this world is Iran, North Korea. There was a few others on the list, Syria. They took them out. And it's because
You're saying
don't
Iran
pay.
is like standing up to this global
Iran,
tyranny?
Well, hey, listen.
They're freedom fighters. You're saying they're like freedom fighter. In what sense?
Because they don't let little boys cut off their dicks.
Hey,
okay.
Don't be so graphic.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Like if you want to just say a woman is a
silly.
woman,
You don't
and
think
a
that's
man
a little
is a man,
shallow? You didn't really. You've made quite a few leaps.
No.
You're telling me. You're telling me I'm this pattern. You're telling me, Nick. I've called you to tell you have this high IQ like Bobby Fischer. You see patterns. Okay. Well, let me be objective. Let me be here. I'm listening to you, and you've yet to really give me a definite. you really haven't made a point, but I can gather what your point is. But before I put words in your mouth, what is your point about saying all this? Bobby Fischer, is it you're trying to tell me that there's the international Jewry is a big problem? Just so that you can say your point, so that I can give you what I want to say, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
If you can't even recognize
what's your point? What was your point with everything that you were saying, so that I don't have to put words in your mouth?
My point to you, Nick, is that if you do have a high IQ, that it is both a burden and a blessing, and that over time, wisdom and understanding will come. That you're a young man, and if you cannot recognize a threat, you will continue to be destroyed. And all I'm trying to do is to get you to realize that very intelligent men like yourself in history have tried to tell us what it is.
No, it's fine. You've made your I got you. You made your statement. You haven't quite made yours. Hey, just give it time, Nick. Hey, I see you with your high IQ. Da da da. So let me ask you this about seeing patterns and seeing where what you should avoid. When something gives you data to extrapolate another different conclusion. I think Bobby Fischer gave you some. Does the fact that he, and it's not a matter of, again, you'll notice that I'm not I don't even know what he said, so I'm not denying things he said. But does the fact that he died drunk that way, doesn't that, you're just so willing to trust somebody like that? But do you even know what it is that you're trusting? A person is motivated by their hell too. Hold on, I'm not done. So how is it? Does anything about Bobby Fischer's hell give you at least a pause at all before you just, pull the trigger on everything he said? You're like, wow, this guy's high IQ. I believe everything he said.
My little brother Nick, I want you to be real smart. So when you talk to these civilians about war with Iran, I want you to tell them one thing. You say, you cannot take Iran.
No, I asked you something else.
No.
You're not answering my question.
In the future,
you can ask me. You can tell me that after. Why don't you? But just answer my question. We can move on to the next part.
To the
next statement you want to say.
I'm telling you.
Bobby,
when you
does reading about, when you read about Bobby Fischer being in hell all the way up to his death, does that give you any pause on just believing everything he said at all?
Yeah, Nick, everything gives me pause, man. Like, what do you mean?
I guess you've answered my question. Thanks. It's a little bit of a strange one, but that was a fair answer. Thank you, man.
Well, no, I mean, okay, I don't believe anything I read. I don't believe anything I hear, anything I see, Nick. I mean, and if you're a high IQ
I was
person,
just wondering.
you don't either.
And you answered your question, so thank you very much. I was just wondering if you had that same apprehension and just like knowledge, just self-understanding that people are in hells like that, and when you're in hell like that, you might stretch things and assume certain things. Now, was the man smart? I hear he had a very high IQ. Yeah. I'm sure he's very high IQ and saw many things. I'm just saying. I also know that when you're angry, you stretch and obfuscate. I'm almost done. You stretch and obfuscate when you're angry. All right, sir. Go ahead.
Your show, Nick. It's your show, brother. I just wanted, when you talk to these civilians, tell them that you can't take Iran because you can't. Just like Vietnam, just like Afghanistan. You can't hold Afghanistan. You're going to take Iran. Well, okay. I mean, like, you understand, they have nowhere to go, bro. They live in the mountains. You're not, I mean, why
are you saying that?
I'm saying that
Iran has nowhere to go? Why are they going somewhere?
What?
No. See, this is the thing you're like, it's a simple. Did you watch Tucker Carlson and Ted? Did you like Tucker Carlson? You thought he was based against Ted?
I haven't seen it. I did podcast.
Did you see that one clip where? Do you see the one clip where he asked him about the 90 million?
Dude, I barely got through the Hake Report with Omar in a podcast. I barely got through that, I'm kind of catch up, and I
no
know
need
I
to
have
catch
not
up.
seen...
I just was gonna accuse you of acting like Ted, assuming that you had watched it and sided with Tucker. So if anything, I revealed my own judgment. Robert, man, you made your statement, sir. Okay, last thing you want to say?
the last thing I want to say is you had a Southern man, I believe from Georgia, right? And you can ask Derek about us Southerners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he said he's coming to get you.
No, yeah.
You remember that?
You gonna defend me? What's gonna happen, Robert?
No. I'm just saying, when a guy who sounds like that, said, we're coming to get you.
You're not gonna you're not gonna defend me from the Southern man?
Hey, bro, I'm from Texas, bro. I mean,
I guess when it comes down to it, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, I didn't hear him loading up the truck. I thought I might heard a tailgate shut.
You think so? Like beep, beep.
We're coming to get you, and I'm like, oh shit, you might want to ask Derek about some, we kind of.
Well, you know what? We don't call now. You know what? I had some Southern friends too, and I'll tell you what, we don't call 911 around here.
Hey, and then one more question. I'm sorry, Nick. I don't want to hold you.
Last thing.
Go
ahead.
One more question. If let's say, like, me and Hake hang out at the beach, right? But like, I'm not, like, let's say I'm as gay as I am, right?
No!
But I'm not as gay as.
I actually heard this part, and Hake didn't let you, and I'm not gonna let you, and it's gonna hurt, and I'm not gonna let you. Nope, I'm not gonna let you.
Does he hate me?
No.
Bye.
I don't know what this gay thing is, and I don't know what it is. I know that it's like some joke with him, and one time I did try bringing it up. I had this one purpose simply because he said some weird thing about, man, the Jews made us degenerate and gay. I'm like, bro, like they didn't do that. Come on, let's be real. Like, oh, the Jews put this in the movies and they don't agree with Christian stuff. It's like, that's a different thing, but they made you gay and degenerate. So I was trying to have a real conversation with him about that one time. That was my mistake. And now I'm confused. I don't even know if he's joking. So I'm not even going to touch that with I'm not getting anywhere near that. All right. So thank you, Robert. Call me another time and just let's drop that. 888-775-3773. I want to get back to my callers here. Let me do a couple super chats and all that. Let me get through some of these lovely viewers and super chatters. I love you. Look at you, Creighton. Look at you. Look at you, 706-145. Look at you, turd flinging monkey. Oh, look at you, Snagatree. Oh, look at you, Hake Report over there on Rumble supporting my channel. We got some lovely super chatters here. We're trying to load it up. Come on, YouTube. John Zimmer, thank you for your super chat. Says, happy Thursday and a joyous Juneteenth to those lost in fear. Amazing. We wish them a happy Juneteenth, I'm sure. But we just wish them well. Gregatron, thank you. I'm sorry, but can you explain this crown game? I don't know, Gregatron. I don't know how it works. I don't know the rules of engagement. I don't know the standard operating procedure. I don't know. The crowns seem arbitrary to me. I think YouTube is trying to divide us. But let's be real. You guys love it. You guys love it. You're fighting for that crown. And apparently, according to YouTube, it's a matter of, if I may read the blurb here given to me by YouTube to explain what the crown thing is. What's the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out in the community. The top 3 get special badges in live chat. It resets every stream, so you can always try again. How do you get on the leaderboard? You need to collect experience points. Here's how you get them. Send live chat messages. Send super chats and super stickers. So there you go. Now you know. We got some coffees here. Buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. Appreciate it. Wow. We have a incredibly generous donation, I think, here. Eric, how you doing? Thank you for the super chat. I mean, the coffees. I'll tell you right now. This is an insane amount of coffees. I don't think, looking at the surface area in this whole studio, we will not be able to accommodate the number of coffees you've just given me, Eric. I got to appreciate your generosity. Thank you for that. And I was having, I didn't think it was adversarial. I don't think we were disagreeing. Eric had super chatted a number of times, and I think it was about something to do with women. I was saying, young men, I'm seeing like the incel types, the people who call themselves that. Like, why would you call yourself, imagine being a Christian and call yourself an incel. Like, you can't do the same. They can't be. Now, maybe you have some awareness about it, and that's why you're using that word. You're like not necessarily identifying with it. But if you identify as an incel, how can you be a Christian? You've made women your god. You've made, and you love your hell. But I was saying something about those people, about the criticizers of the women and the Jews and other things. That I gotta say, you've been watching my show. There's so many things that I think I agree on, and I'm like, but hold on, guys. Like this, they're kind of right about this, right? I do that a lot. But I had a bone to pick with them. The blamers are not getting better. See, it's one thing to have facts, it's another thing to blame. And they're getting worse. Have you noticed that? The ladies are getting educated. They got money, educated. They're doing. It's physical. It's physical. It's worldly, but you got to become a master of your domain, become a master of this world, and that includes physical. How are you going to change things? You sit around and just say feminism. Anyways, look. Let me not get too far off the beaten path here. It's just Eric with a very generous coffee here donation. I want to give this attention because it looks like you gave me a really long. It's definitely not pithy. It's definitely a very long donation, and we'll try our best here. But you're saying here, he reads here, Eric writes here, you're grossly underestimating the societal consequence of female promiscuity. Women are looking for the love of a father from a man that doesn't love them. So, Eric here quotes, your women are looking for the love of a father, ... from a man that doesn't love them. I see what you're saying. So, yeah, the promiscuity, they're out there looking for a love of a father, but they're constantly finding it in the wrong men and destroying society with their promiscuity. But it's so you've described that well, Eric, and you got to understand, I never disagree with that. I was just simply making a point about blaming. Men are weak because women lack virtue, says Eric. When women lack virtue, they're attracted to godless men. I don't know a harder truth. This truth explains every problem in the world. I guess I don't have anything to say against that. That's just true, right? Even if you don't exactly know what godless men are or what virtue is, it's one of those sentences that just has to be true, right? Like God is love. Why do I want to nitpick this? Why do I want to nitpick this? It's just, I don't even have a clear nitpick, so let me move on. Today's women don't want to spend their youth on their husbands. He quotes Pearl Davis. Men pursue a career to have a family, and women pursue a career to avoid a family. I'm not saying for a woman to not have a job. I'm saying she needs to be honest about why she's working, to deeply understand her intentions, to know thyself. Otherwise, she'll be in strong opposition to the love of a father, because to overcome the imagination, she must admit she's evil. And, you might have a point there. I definitely don't disagree. It's just, I think I remember the segment I was talking about. I was showing these women on TikTok loving their little office job. And I was describing the common criticism, which was, look at these women. This is what feminism has done. These women just want to work and not have babies. And if you remember, I didn't deny that. It's just a matter of this world that has changed, How are you going to come? These women can get jobs, get careers, get maternity leave, get money. They can divorce, be together, but not be together. Go on. They could do anything a man can do, right? Legally, in a sense, right? Not really, not truly. They not in a real sense, but they have all that available to them. So in that world, I'm not the type of person to go around convincing. So I don't feel the need to go around convincing this world's women. So I just don't. I'll just overcome my hell. And if the world goes to hell and the birth rates go to, I don't want that to happen, sure, but I don't know what to tell you. The world is an angry place. And so when it comes down, so when we observe this world, you really think, again, I don't feel the need to convince them, but if you were looking at this and you're like, wow, feminism is terrible. We got to convince the women. We got to, figure it out because they're making the babies. You think they care about this feminism argument? Like, they don't. They're open about it. The Christian women, the conservative women, they want careers, they want jobs, they want, the moment you tell them you can't do something I can do, that's when the feminism will begin. And so, I don't know what to tell you. So again, we're in agreement here. I'm just let's think about it deeper. Because I think the shallow thinking is what's leaving all the people online saying, looking at every clip of a woman succeeding, essentially, and going like, "Oh, why are you succeeding? It's on the tax burden of the men." It's like, I swear I saw this video. It was some guy, and he was so confidently saying, women in the workplace right now, they're out earning Gen Z men or something like that because he just says it like this, because of the tax burden on men. And I'm sincerely trying to look this up. I'm like, and if I'm sounding dumb right now, you're about to call me and tell me that, Nick, there is a tax. Men are taxed for feminism. Then fine, I'll have egg on my face, but you would be the one with the knowledge. I'm talking to the one that doesn't know that and is just sitting there complaining. So let me continue here. Sorry, Eric. Let me finish your amazing coffee here. He says, I'm not saying she needs to be honest about, otherwise she will be in strong opposition to the love of a father, because to overcome the imagination, she must admit she's evil. The less evil she's pursued, the less resistance to truth. Narrow is the way, few are those that find it, very, very few, and infinitely fewer women. Men and women are valued for different things. Every step a woman takes, she carries the immeasurable weight of virtue. I'm not sure what you mean with all this. Men and women are valued for different things. Every step a woman takes, she carries the immeasurable weight of virtue. You'll have to call me and tell me what you mean by some of this. Women never gain value. They can only retain their value. Their resistance to this burden is why few women seek what's right. You're just talking about their looks. That's all you're talking about. And I understand the relationship you're describing. It's not a lie, but it tells me you're thinking when you use the word value here and all that. You're not thinking beyond the words you're using. A little bit. Call it a criticism. You could call me. Tell me what you think. 888-775-3773. But he goes on here. Says women refuse to publicly acknowledge a lack of virtue because a permanent loss of value threatens their survival. Women seek redemption to the consequence of their behavior through unwavering incomprehension, feigning ignorance to the grave. I mean, yeah, that's evil. That's what evil does. Evil plays dumb. This is what their husbands have to deal with. Yep. And men have to tame the spiritual consequences of a woman's promiscuity. The task of leading the eternally deceptive is impossible when men don't know what the problem is. I'm not complaining. I'm explaining the problem. You said there's no virtue being preserved. Oh, when did I say that? I can't remember. There's no virtue being preserved. I can't remember when I said that. And about what, Eric? A woman's entire personality is based on preserving virtue. The hardest thing in the world for a woman to do is to admit she's wrong. She'll send the children, the dogs, the husband, the flowers, the trees, the paint to hell before she admits she's wrong. Smoke on it. Well, thanks, Eric. Yeah, interesting there. It'd be, I'm sure, a fine conversation to clear up some things. And we don't necessarily disagree. That's an amazing, generous coffee, though. Thank you. We got Mr. Pink out of California, sir. Thank you for your call. You're on the air.
What's going on, Nick?
All is well, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to see if you caught any of the breaking news over the past few hours.
Talk to me. What happened?
Well, Iran hit this hospital in Israel.
Oh, let me look that up. So what's going on there?
I mean, well,
it's an escalation for sure.
Yes, this is an escalation as I'm noticing, and just reading over a few of the top headlines of the day, and I'm noticing that Trump has come out and he's saying he's basically given notice that it's like he's going to think about what he's about to do for about 2 weeks. He's got a 2-week window. He said he's going to figure out how he's going to go about this.
Wow.
And apparently they're readying something like a 30,000-pound bomb.
Yeah, the bunker busters.
Yeah, the bunker buster, man.
To get into nuclear facilities, all basically built into the side of a mountain, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the footage of that when they used that in the first administration?
No.
You didn't see that? Like, it was like the overhead of the black and white shot with the little like crosshairs in the middle, and it's just like this like open air area, and of course like all this stuff is underground, and it's just like boop, and all of a sudden this whole thing is like smoke.
It's crazy, man.
And so it's like we all know by now not to take sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to be taking sides. I'm just looking at the situation from like, a zoomed out overview of like, okay, this is like, I'm just looking at it as it's happening. You know what I mean? And from what I can see, Trump probably going to bomb them. Probably going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised. And especially if Iran keeps making stupid moves like this hospital thing, that it's not going to help their case at all. At all.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just pure speculation from our part, but you think it'll be like boots on the ground war, like Iraq and all that?
Well, I don't even know.
It's hard to even say, right? What do we know?
I don't think we'll need to do that. I think
that's what Ted was saying. That's what Ted Cruz was saying to Tucker. He doesn't want that. He doesn't think he wants regime change. But when Tucker said, "Oh, so how do you justify military intervention?" He's like, "Well, hold on. I'm not saying military intervention or troops. I'm just saying we agree with regime change." I don't know how, but whatever.
Well, I mean, like, I just like, I don't think with the technology that we have and the fact that Israel has capability over there too, and of course you've seen Israel and their intelligence and all that stuff. They've like basically ghosted all of their top military leadership within like a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This guy yesterday was in the top military guy got killed like a week or so ago, right?
Mm.
And then they put this other guy, the substitute, in place, and Israel killed him within 4 days.
Oh, jeez.
So it's like, bro, like
they definitely have
like, I don't know who's
capabilities,
clamoring for this. I don't know who's clamoring for this top job anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So with the technology that we have, I don't think we really need U.S. troops on the ground. I don't think it's going to matter. I think basically, with the bunker busters and et cetera that we do have, we'll pretty much be able to, pressure them in one way or another without having to physically invade with people like troops. You know what I mean? I just think that the technology has advanced to a point where that's not necessary at this point. But yeah, my trouble is how this may escalate and spiral into wider conflict, because China and Russia back one side, and then we back the other, and then that starts. It just becomes like how World War II popped off, right? We weren't necessarily feuding with Germany at first. Japan sided with Germany. We were at war with Japan because of Pearl Harbor, and then that escalated to, okay, we're at war with the partnership between the two of you, and et cetera. It just kind of snowballs. It snowballs.
Right. Those are the fears that people have about this, essentially.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is we're going to know pretty soon. In the next coming weeks,
he said 2 weeks.
What the heck this is all going to be, and even like a regional conflict.
Yeah, he said 2 weeks, and he'll figure out what he's going to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, with Iran making the stupid moves like the hospital today, that they're not making a good case for themselves. And Trump is always looking at the entire board, and he's
totally.
They're giving pieces. Just one more thing, and I disavow, as Hake would say, just ahead of time. But there was some stuff that broke yesterday too about how I don't want to go too much into detail because of how YouTube can be. But apparently some stuff broke yesterday about the Communist Chinese Party, and the ballots that were used in 2020. And if you want to look that up on your own time,
totally
that's cool.
Some news with
there was
CCP.
There was definitely some CCP involvement with bringing ballots into the country to et cetera, basically.
And where'd you get that from?
That was an InfoWars report yesterday, but
fair enough.
It was, they were looking at other sources that are legit, and basically it does look like 2020 was not legitimate.
Well, thanks for the tip.
Yeah. Cool.
All
right. Well, I'll let you move the wheels. You know what you got to do.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pink, call me again, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Okay, so 888-775-3773. I want to get right back to my calls here. Let me see. What do I want to do here? What shall we do? No, let's do Anthony, first time caller out of SoCal. How you doing, Anthony? Appreciate your call.
Hey Nick, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Sweet man. I think it's my first time calling on your show, and it's one of my very few times watching this, and I really like your intro, man.
Hey, appreciate that. It's a ridge.
Excellent work. Yeah, that's honestly impressive, bro. But I don't know if Robert's trolling or not, but I just wanted to make a comment on what he said from the origins of Islam, and I could provide a hadith for that, but they see female genital mutilation or circumcision as honorable. Okay, and it's still practiced to this day. Of course, males are also circumcised in Islam. But so I don't know if this guy's trolling or what. Like, am I missing something?
Concerning what? What do you think he's trolling on?
Well, he provided reasons for why Iran should be preserved as a nation.
Oh yeah, I think he was saying. He was saying they're basically standing up to this global tyranny of this global order that he sort of mentioned, and on other calls he's described further. But yeah, that's what he was saying.
Interesting. I'm curious. Have you seen that recent interview of Reza Pahlavi's 100-day plan for Iran?
You're talking about the previous prince, the son of the previous king of Iran or whatever, Shah of Iran.
You hit it on the head. Yeah, the son of the late Shah.
And so, what was going on with Reza Pahlavi?
So he's a ally with Israel in the U.S. and he's been so the thing I don't think what Robert understands is the Iranian people, the majority of them, about 75% of them, don't agree with the government. As a matter of fact, from 2002, I believe there was polls showed about 90% agreed with the Islamic Republic or the Iranian regime. Now it's only about 40%. Sorry, I mixed that up. 40% consider themselves actually Muslim now. So the majority of them are secularists, atheists, or Christian. So the reason why I say that is because there's a major distinction between Iranian leadership and the people. The previous Shah of Iran's son has more overlap with the people of Iran because that's the nature of the development of Iran. It was kind of like Israel, but not really like a homogenous people group, ethnic group.
You mean Iran before the revolution?
Exactly. So he's relating to the population, and it was really cool. That's I should have mentioned that on Haig's report, but that's kind of what formed my position on the situation and our offenses towards Iran, because I'm sure, my big concern was, okay, if they take over Iran, that's just another region that's going to be destabilized, and it's going to be like a whole Libya thing or an Afghanistan thing, But then the Shah's son, Reza, comes out, which is, pretty impressive, and he says, I got a 100-day plan, if the takeover goes well, we have a plan to set up democratic elections and kind of get the country back to where it was before the revolution. I don't know. What do you think about that? Is that
well, no, I don't know if I think much. I'm hearing you tell me that there are, according to you, plans in motion to essentially, to summarize, reinstall, well, not reinstall, but to install the son of the previous Shah of Iran, and this son is Reza Pahlavi. And so that's what you're telling me. What do I think about it? I don't know if I think much. I hope it goes well, I guess. I hope it goes well. You're telling me that's what's happening, right? This Reza, the son of this Shah, wasn't he previously, like this whole era of the Shah, wasn't that an era, and I don't know much, but that whole era was also placed by the West, no? Installed by the West.
Placed by the West?
Yeah, before this revolution, that period of Iran, as far as my understanding goes, that Shah that I'm talking about, the father of this prince you're talking about, they were installed by the U.S. and the West. Is that's my understanding?
So it's
which might be fine. I think that sounds fine. I love dominating the world. I'm just saying. Is that true?
Yeah, you know. So yes and no. Well, yes, but also I believe we had an influence in his him being overthrown as well.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that's when Khomeini came in with his Western Islamic theology background and was able to, handle the Iranian population. But initially you're right. We had a part in that, and it was when, and I'm sure the CIA is still doing this, doing these BS wars to install quote unquote democracy. But in the case of Iran, there truly was a democracy at the time, and that's where you saw what's it called, the White Revolution, and that's when after the Shah was Reza's dad was in power.
Yeah.
Iran was flourishing. It was a democratic nation. It was a democratic country. And then towards the 80s, 90s, after Khomeini took over, massive protests, massive violence on civilians. That's when they started doing mass executions, public executions. They started torturing their civilians
too, right?
Yeah, hostages.
The Carter hostages.
Exactly. I forgot about that.
But so, I pretty much kicked it off, right? It was like the revolution. But let me ask you this: what is this? Are you familiar with like the ethnic makeup of Iran? Are they mostly Muslim? That's as far as my understanding goes.
So the civilian population, well, I mean, Muslim is more of their, religion. Ethnically speaking, my understanding from the last time I checked, a lot of them are Persian. They have a Persian makeup, and that is the same ethnic background as the Shah. Those in power, though, they're not Persian. They're not Iranian, so to speak. They're Arabs. So it's, and what is bizarre is,
oh, you're saying the revolutionaries or whatever, the regime in power. You're saying they are
correct,
Arab
correct.
as opposed to this Persian ethnic distinction.
Exactly, totally different languages. Yeah, they're totally different languages, different cultures, different religions.
Is it a bit of a distinction without? It's an interesting and important distinction, I'm sure. It really is. It depends on, but it depends on what you're talking about. Does this distinction, because when you're talking about what are you going to do when you regime change, like, yeah, you might want to know about the people there, but what about what you brought up? Do the people in Iran largely support or not support the regime? You're telling me they largely don't. But this is to say the implications of that. The implications of that is that they would be willing and happy to accept a regime change and an uprising, a popular uprising, like Ted Cruz put it. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. I just bring up this fact that, like you're saying, these Persians, they're different, but the Shah of Iran was a Muslim. Like, is it a distinction that doesn't really matter when you get to that point of the conversation? Like, will the people revolt against the regime? Like, yeah, they may not be happy, but they seem to be not. They don't like Israel. They're not going to team up with Israel.
Well,
I don't know if they'll uprise, but maybe they will. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's a really good point, actually, and that's where it gets a bit tricky because you kind of have to read into the dynamics of their leadership. So one thing about if you'll notice about the Khomeini. So the past 60 days, when he had opportunities to negotiate, he was just on Twitter saying death to the Jews, death to Israel, death to Netanyahu, death to America. So, and at the same time, other side of his mouth, he's saying, no, we're looking forward to negotiation.
Peace. De-escalation.
Exactly, de-escalation. And, it's so when it comes to that distinction, and it's also a different flavor of Islam. Obviously, you could have Muslims that don't stick to their Quran, like the Saudis right now.
Right. I was going to bring that up and ask you about that. How Islam seems to it does vary though. It does vary. You go to Indonesia as opposed to Dubai and Saudi Arabia, you get a different Islam. I think.
Yeah,
seemingly.
No, you're totally right. And the reality is, the thing is, Islam, you could think about it like this: the longer you hold on to true Islam, the longer you're going to stay in the past. The longer you're going to be closer to degeneracy versus progress. All right, so these leaders like the Shah, Riza's father, the king of Iran, he understood that, like the crown prince, that in order for their nation, in order to do what's best for their nation and their country and their people, they need to distance themselves from theological Islam. All right, and that also opens up their place in the global financial system, where they'll have more opportunities to do business with other nations, which is what we're seeing with Saudi right now. If Saudi wasn't so westernized and distancing themselves from a
part
Islamic
of the Abraham
regime.
Accords and all that.
Right. That's their gateway to prosperity and like living in a Western world, or not a Western world, but having the benefits of a civilized society.
So you're telling the Arabs to smarten up, maybe? Are you maybe telling the Arabs to smarten up and take the deal? Time to get into this golden era altogether.
Dude, it's time to leave the. Nick. That's kind of how I see it, and obviously, it does, and I don't know why people aren't having more confidence in the hopefully future king, but previous prince. They're competent people. They're a competent nation. They're a competent ethnic group. They're the descendants of Cyrus the Great. That's the type of people we're talking about.
Those are the Persians, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, they're a good nation, man. Islam just really, it infects things. It infects people. It infects ideology. It infects society. And that's why I support what Israel is doing. That's kind of my reasoning. I don't think you
How
know.
old are you, if I may ask?
Like
are you a boomer or Gen X
29.
or?
No, I'm in my late 20s.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, I've been to the Middle East a bit. My family's from there. The reason why I liked Jesse's show initially was because he does this thing about the blacks, like they should be thankful
right, in the greatest country on this side of heaven.
Right, even though it was because of slavery, something bad. I relate to that so much, man. The Islamists forced my family to leave in the 80s and 90s.
Out of where?
And Egypt.
Egypt. Wow.
Yeah, it's better today, but in the 80s, the Muslim Brotherhood was gaining traction, and it was really bad. Still bad today, but we couldn't live there anymore. They were gonna. They were. My family wouldn't be around today if we didn't come to America. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for this country. And I just don't want to see that continue to happen to other civilized nations. Say what you want about Israel, but they're a civilized nation. You could travel there. You can do what you want there. There's no other country in that area of the Middle East where you could do that. It's
and
that's kind of
isn't that it's, to my audience even like isn't that like that these are one of those points that I like I have to hold on to and contend with and wait for someone to convince me otherwise. Not even that I'm seeking it, but what I'm getting at is, on I may even be willing to hear you guys out. It's like, I didn't grow up with this with any, what do you call, affinity is the word? No distaste either, but no affinity or anything for Israel or Jews like that. So I can hear the criticism and all that. But even hearing it all, when we get down to the nitty gritty, isn't it remain true that I'm willing to hear you guys out, I guess, but let's be real. You don't want Iran to have a nuke, and Israel you would trust with a nuke. Isn't that true? And one is more trustworthy than the other with a nuke. If I can we at least say that? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
One is more civilized than the other, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely, yeah, because honestly, the way I see this, and Mr. Pink, I don't know if that was his name or not, he called in earlier, he made a good point about where this is going to go. And right now, we have Trump basically has China on a leash with tariffs. They're trying to get on his good side. Russia is preoccupied with, and I'm not saying these are good things, but it's just interesting how it worked out like this. Russia's occupied with the weapons we sent to Ukraine and the funding we sent to them, so they can't back Iran. China can't back Iran. So they're in a position where we could hopefully create a more solid diplomacy with Israel by establishing this common ground, which is essentially civilization versus barbarianism. But also, I also don't feel comfortable with Israel having nukes.
Yeah, I haven't even. Well, I appreciate the conversation. A lot of things I haven't even thought about, but Anthony, I'm trying to move the wheels here, sir. We've spent plenty of time on this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your time, Nick. Thanks, man.
No problem at all.
Take care. Thank you.
Call me again. 888-775-3773. Let's change it up here. Let's change it up here a little bit. Cause where was I? Perusing the internet. I saw a little ad for an interesting product. An interesting little product here. I want to pull it up here. So, it's here it is. This is an ad for a product called Kick, okay? Let's see if I can blow it up here. Get the full text. Duplicate. Oh, no, don't do that. I'm being a boomer. So check it out. It's an ad for a product called Kick. And Kick is, well, you get this first image and it reads adrenaline blockers. You get this, it's like a minimalist design, looks so, I don't know, clinical. And this is definitely a health ad, like a health product, whatever. And it's a ad for this product called Kick, okay? And you get this little headline for the ad. Nervous introverts are using adrenaline blockers to go from shaky to confident. And you're like, whoa, I'm nervous. Whoa, I'm nervous on the inside. I want to go from shaky to confident. So take this in. Kick is the company, and they offer just that. A adrenaline blocker. Imagine that. You know what adrenaline is? Adrenaline. It's a compound produced, I think, by the gland right above your kidneys. And, the adrenal glands. When you're in a condition of stress, it increases the rate of blood circulation, breathing, your heart rate. It prepares your muscles for exertion. Adrenaline. You feel it could leave you with a big enough nervous dump of adrenaline. It could sometimes leave you feeling a little funny in the stomach. Maybe you're seeing young children get really nervous or stage fright to the point where they even puke. It's a powerful drug. It's a powerful compound, adrenaline. And it happens when you get nervous in a moment of stress, right? You can imagine going up on a stage or just talking to somebody or just a job interview or something that would cause this adrenaline bump. Like, wow, you telling me I could just take this and be confident? Nervous introvert presenters are using our adrenaline blockers to go from shaky and sweaty to confidently cool. After witnessing thousands of celebrities, performers, and executives overcome stage anxiety, I've realized the real problem. It's not that they're introverts or shy. They simply have an overactive nervous system. Oh, that's what it was. And that makes it almost biologically impossible to be calm on stage. It's biologically impossible. Oh, I know what it is. I need kick. I needed kicks and adrenaline blockers this whole time. The solution isn't years of Toastmasters training. All they need is the insider's edge to instantly block adrenaline. See, I talk to people every day who avoid important presentations at all costs because of a racing heartbeat, sweaty palms, shaky voice, dry mouth, tunnel vision. They failed classes, bombed job interviews, missed out on promotions. They've been left out in a society that prizes confidence. Wow, who's their marketing team? That one sentence alone it should hit the anxious. I have been left out of a society. This society, they prize confidence, and I've been left out, gatekept from this society simply because of my biology that cannot be confident. Are you taking in this ad, this narrative? They turn down and avoid great opportunities because they fear they will only embarrass themselves. It was the same for me. Anytime I had to perform under pressure, I had a debilitating knot in my stomach, flushing and sweating. Mind went blank, uncontrollable shaky legs. But the worst part was always wondering how different my life could be if I had risen to the occasion instead of falling on my face. Who can relate? Rising to the occasion. Then one day I was catching up with my psychologist friend, and he casually mentioned some studies on insider's edge that people use to release and overcome extreme fears. I never heard of anything like it. I dove headfirst. It turns out the majority of professional musicians have used this edge, according to this ad. And so this inside edge, this person, got in touch with, I'm sure, formulators. And for the first time in my entire life, I confidently felt like myself during my sales pitch. I confidently nailed my talk after taking this drug, this insider's edge. The racing heartbeat and sweaty, shaky palms come from a surge of adrenaline. That's the classic fight or flight hormone. See, some of this is making sense to you, right? It's great when we're being chased by a lion. Not great if we're afraid of a stage. Our body overproduces adrenaline. But the insider's edge blocks the high level of adrenaline. That's the insider's edge, folks. An adrenaline blocker. And I'm reading this to you because I found this so fascinating. And I want to tell you this, that I'm not coming at this from like this guy who is super confident everywhere. I'm definitely not coming at, what I'm about to say, it doesn't come from there. You could say, I'm sure if you knew me, you could say many things about me. You could say, I'm sure a number of things about me. Like why do you, sometimes when you talk, you're like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? So look, I'm saying that you could say a number of things about me, but one thing I don't think you can say about me is I'm a person. I really do rise to the occasion, even if it was a mistake, even if it's like bit off more than I could chew, whatever it is. I'm sure I have character flaws, but one thing I do is I rise to the occasion. I've always been like that. I don't know what it is. I've just always been like that. And opportunities there. Someone says, "Hey, we need somebody. Hey, you should do this. Hey, jump on the stage here. Do this thing." I've always been like that. And I'll tell you right now, throughout all of it, my palms are sweating. I'm thinking I can't. Everything. And then I do it, and then it all goes away. So, I mean, you could go and get yourself some adrenaline blockers. You really could, I guess. Maybe you could. But you don't have to. That's not the trick here. The trick is not the adrenaline. The trick is not the adrenaline. The trick is doing it anyways, despite feeling the adrenaline, despite the sweaty, despite anything. that's the trick is going past that. Because that's all just what, like you're reading here, simply biological, physiological things. That's all it is. If it's all it is, then what's stopping you from from rising to the occasion is not your physiological stuff. I mean, here's the ad telling you that's all it is. It's simply your reaction to it. I mean, you could buy yourself you could go on a lifetime of adrenaline blockers, sure, thinking that that's the insider edge. Oh, confident people simply don't feel a lack of confidence. Confident people and people who rise to the occasion simply don't have sweaty palms and a racing heart. Well, that's a lie. I'll tell you that. But what else about this? I just found it's a little interesting ad. I thought it was interesting. And that's how ads are, right? They're trying to sell you something. Everybody has anxiety or whatever. Everybody wants to be confident. So, of course, this company would have, if it wasn't Kick, it would be some other company doing this. So let's not, trip about the world. It's just a funny thing. Don't you see it? What do you guys think? It's a total lie. I've never had a sweaty palm in my life. Oh, well, lucky. Some of you guys are lucky, okay? But it's it's just a physiological thing. What else? What else about this? Yeah, see? Butterflies. So, I mean, like I said, you could go out and get Kick and adrenaline blockers and all that. But the ad itself is creating this narrative that's not true. I just want to say that. And it was clear to me, so I had to present it to you. Gay beta pills. I'm not going to say that. Amazing. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on here. What else about this? Rising to the occasion. For nervous introverts. That's what this says here. Kick for nervous introverts. Don't call yourself an introvert. Stop calling yourself that. Stop calling yourself an introvert and shy. Just stop saying that. Just start there. Stop calling yourself that. Let's move it on here. That was just a little ad here. Had to filter some of that noise from the world for you. 888-775-3773. What shall we do now? Let's just have a little fun, I think. In the last bit of the show, we had some amazing calls and super chats and topics. Talked about the nukes and all that. What do I want to do now? Kind of taking it easy right now. The last bit of the show coming into Friday as Thursday. Anchor Baby ends. Well, there's still the rest of the day for y'all, but let's see. What do we do here? You know, there was, going back to Tucker just for a moment, there was an interesting moment where Tucker is asking Ted about, well, the clip starts off, I think, with Tucker commenting with what had happened just a moment before in the full interview. This Tucker's trip to Russia being brought up and how weird it may have been to some. If you remember, Tucker went to Russia and showed how amazing the trains are and groceries and stuff are. And it was many were critical of Tucker. They're like, okay. I mean, I thought it was interesting. I remember thinking it was interesting. And because you just don't know about these countries, right? You don't know about. I'll show you a video later about Iran and the biggest mall in the world. You just don't know about these countries and how they really are like. And you see these things and you're like, wow. With that being said, I remember people bringing up how it was just strange. You know, he's glazing Russia so amazingly, but Tucker must. These were the critics. Tucker must know that the wages and quality of life in Russia is. You don't want to live in Russia. You're happy in America. So they bring that up, this spat here, and Tucker I think he attempts to explain himself a bit here. Ted's bringing it up. The whole exchange, I found it interesting, especially because Tucker brings up China. And I'm not making a statement on the nitty-gritties of their thinking of these nations, but the mere fact of China's development that Tucker's going to describe here in a moment, I found that interesting because I'm somewhat aware of this. Yeah, China's kind of amazing. And their city and all that, and the skyscrapers they've built. I think I read somewhere that all of America has something like 400 skyscrapers. And Beijing has like 3,000. I could be wrong. It could be like comparing China, and I have that for you too in a moment. So enough out of me. Enough out of me. What are these guys saying? Oh, and I see calls coming in, by the way. Thanks for calling. I'll get to you. 888-775-3773.
I was accused of being, I think it's weird that you went to a Russian grocery store and said it was prosperous. No, my point is
it looked like a commercial. It looked like a commercial. Isn't this wonderful?
No, it was an argument against the efficacy of sanctions. Sanctions against Russia, which you casually and enthusiastically imposed, scoring a little moral victory every time, had no material effect that helped the United States. Russia is backstopped by China, and I recommend that you go there and see it. It is way nicer than Washington, D.C. Way nicer. To me, that's a tragedy. I was horrified and angry at my leaders, including you. It's like, I want to live in a country that's nice, with low food costs and no homeless people.
All right,
I don't understand why that's too much to ask.
So do
Instead, I get wars with Iran. No, I just want lower food costs. How's that?
And I know a lot of people can agree with that and be like, wow, man, Tucker, you're really right. But he's fine with, it seems from this interview, to me, it seemed like Tucker is fine with regime change. Just not right now, and this one, exactly how. But I mean, I think he does represent what some people are thinking, to be fair. And yeah, that's what they want. They don't want the homeless. I mean, he's on it with that. So anyways.
So look, it's a weird argument that you do often, which is, listen, things are crappy in America. Liberals have done bad things to America. So
anyways, I don't care about the rest of this clip. It was the thing that Tucker brought up. Look, I was actually looking at, well, I've been just looking at China. It's an interesting country. Listen. Take a look at Shanghai. Are you familiar with Shanghai? Are you familiar with China since 1987? How much has changed?
The China of the 21st century has not been a country to shy away from grand statements, nor has it been shy at building lots and lots of enormous buildings.
Look at this. This looks beautiful.
In just two.
What the? Am I just like easily just flashing lights, Nick? Come on, don't be like, come on, wake up, Nick. Hey, call me, tell me. But
decades,
the CCP propaganda is working on me.
China built more than 8 times the number of skyscrapers that America constructed in a century.
Yeah.
Today, the country has well over 3,300 skyscrapers that are 150 meters tall or taller. The United States.
Taller. What specific accent is that? I know it's like English, but I like it.
States has just under 900.
What? Come on, America.
Of the 10 tallest buildings in the world.
So just a little bit of that. I've seen these images too. I've been seeing streamers and all sorts of stuff in Shanghai. It's kind of an amazing city.
Well, I'm a biker. I've been a biker for.
Anyways, look, I just wanted to show you that real quick. Yeah, it's so snooty. Yeah. Stool. It's lovely. Russ out of New Jersey. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Hello. How are you?
How you doing, Russ? All is well, thank you. Go ahead.
I was thinking today about portals. How we start out in our Father, and down below, and then we're put through His portal into our mother, and we go through our mother's portal into her stomach to get hooked to a cord so that we can sustain life. And then once we come out of our mother, we have to get our feet in our balance because we've gone from water, living in water our whole life so far, to land. And all of a sudden we're on something that we're not used to living in. And then it takes us time to get accustomed to that. But then all of a sudden now before we get a chance to learn about the soil and live in the dirt, we're pushed into a corporate world and hooked to another portal, and we have to relate to the world without going to the dirt and understanding the ground first. If you understand what I'm saying.
I'm like in the ballpark. I'm in the ballpark. I see the connections you're making of portals and the portal of our mother's womb and the portal into the world, the portal into deception, if I may summarize.
Yeah, or the portals in our eyes.
What made you think about all this?
Just how YouTube is called YouTube now, and you almost go into like a portal, and I'm transferred across the United States and to a later time, like I'm almost coming back in time to your time now, and it just
you were traveling in portals. What you're saying is how YouTube basically gives you you finish one video, it'll automatically take you to another one. You're saying that's what you mean by teleporting and traveling?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a creative way of looking at it all, man.
Well, it's
Are you a Christian?
Right in my face. Huh?
Are you a Christian?
I'm more of a naturalist, where I go to nature to find my answers.
I've never heard that. Would you say linaturalist?
No, a naturalist.
Naturalist. My bad. I heard you say linaturalist. I'm like, wow, I'd never heard that. Naturalist. What's that mean?
I go to nature for the answers.
Stay close to your phone for me, Russ.
I go to nature for the answers.
And tell me, what answers have you found?
That right now we're living in an animal state as human beings, also with the manipulated state that we've learned through society.
Tell me about this animal state. Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, like if you get to a point where you're starving and there's no other way to get something to eat, you have to go to a state where you may have to steal.
Interesting. Is there a way out of this animal state?
Well, I think if we go back to and go through our first stage of learning the dirt before we move up, because a farm is so much different than a city or a prison. To me, a city and a prison are almost identical. But a farm is a place where you go to grow life and grow, everything, because the ground is being used for what it's supposed to be used. But when you build concrete jungles, what else can you use them for?
Well, you're describing, basically, to summarize, how man is maladjusted to this world, and that we need to go back to the dirt and learn some lesson. Can you explain what that means? What is going back to the dirt? What is this lesson that is stopping us from adjusting to this world?
Basically, that we grew up within the Garden of Eden, right? That's where we're supposed to be. Do you get that?
Say that again?
The Garden of Eden.
What about it?
That's what our time is supposed to be. Like right now, the Bible, we started in the Garden of Eden.
Gotcha.
And if you look at the world as our Garden of Eden, then it's going to supply what we need from the earth for us to be able to sustain life. And if you look at our routine that we've used for centuries or years or eons, whatever you want to call it, through male and female reproduction, and that's the secret. You have to be able to get both those people to agree to be able to have children. And that's where the attack seems to be coming from the world right now, is towards the reproduction of the human being.
But it's not clear to me. It's not exactly clear how that's all happening.
It's not
waiting
clear
for you to reveal it. Listen, how old are you, if I may ask?
64.
Well, appreciate you listening to my show, Russ. Thank you for that. You've called me before, I think.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Well, right on, Russ. Thank you.
No problem.
It's your creative way of looking at things.
Well, it's nature's way. Everything is here for a reason. We have both blood and water in our body so that we can cool when we heat up. The blood in us gets hot. The blood comes from the sun. The moon cools us down, and that's the woman. She cools us down, keeps us calm, and that's like the sun that shines on the moon every day. she has 28 cycles, 28 days in her cycle. We only have 4 months that we have to deal with as men. So a woman's always going to be a lot more unbalanced than a man because she has to live through her cycles when she's, in season.
A little poetry, I guess, Russ. Appreciate that description of the mysteries of the world a little. Okay, last thing you want to say, sir? I got to move the wheels.
That's it, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate your call, Russ. Call me again.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty. 888-775-3773. Last few minutes. We're nearing the end here. Let me check everything. Check all the things, all the amazing things. Again, man, thank you, Eric, for that, for those coffees and all that. Amazing. Thank you. Let me get to some super chatters here on YouTube. Joel Eklund. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. Joel, man, thank you for the super chat. Says Jesse, I think he's quoting Jesse. What's he saying here? It says, Jesse, I love the American anchor baby. And then some emojis. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate the support, man. Thank you. Amazing. Great stuff. Thank you, Rumble. Appreciate my viewers. Enjoying the space, the freedom. Cool. Pardon. Okay, so let me see. What shall we do in the last, few minutes? That's all the supporters. A joyous Juneteenth from John Zimmer. Yeah, I think that's all that. Shall we? Now, what do I have for you here in the last few minutes? Oh, man, what should I do? What should I do here? Did you guys see? This is random. Last few minutes of the show. Justin Bieber, celebrity gossip, or flat earth? Let's see here. Look, I just see this Justin Bieber guy. I've seen him over the years. Okay, now, and I'm scrolling down Daily Mail, and I swear I know all his drama. I don't really know the nitty-gritties, but I've seen the headlines. This guy doesn't look happy. I get this impression of Justin Bieber that I don't know what's the it's like a I hate my wife guys, like they're really irritated by them. I get this just vibe from him. Now, he went viral because lately he's been kind of just mad at the paparazzi. He's just mad at the paparazzi, and I don't know. I guess some celebrities handle it better. I'm sure he's had paparazzi for a number of years, but he's just lately going off on them. And this is playing over and over in my head for some reason. The word choices he used. I don't know why he's talking like this, but it stuck with me. It's funny to me. Now, I don't want to laugh at his misery. It doesn't seem like he's having a good time. It seems like he's got issues, like anger. And he's saying that himself. But this keeps playing in my head for some reason. He's confronting a paparazzi here.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it? You're not getting it.
I don't know why I love that. I love the way he's talking and he's so confident. The way he's saying that, he's not clocking to you. You're not getting that. I'm standing on business right now. Like what? Like going up to paparazzis. They're going to keep taking pictures of you. You're giving them more ammo. This is Kanye. Well, Kanye West already showed you this one, man. I told you. And then they found him more because he's helping them go viral, yelling at the paparazzi.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business.
Yeah, he sounds like a kid, Hank. That's another part of it. He sounds like a kid in his hoodie. And the word choice, like I guess is modern. He's keeping up. I don't know what it is. It's hilarious. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, sir.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it? You're not getting it.
I don't know what it is about it. I love it. But man, the guy seems angry to me. The guy seems angry. I get this like, but that's a separate comment. Maybe if I had more evidence, I should just stop saying it. Like this, I hate my wife thing. But there was this exclusive, it all came out. Secret anger burning inside Justin Bieber. Left friends walking on eggshells. Basically, he started posting all over his social media about this anger he's going through. This major anger he's going through. Now, where is it? Quit asking me if I'm okay. Quit asking me how I'm doing. Wait, where is it? Oh, look at the time, too. Honestly, this is not even fair because when we get into like the gossipy things, I really want to be fair because my point is never the gossip. My point is something else. And I don't have the time to do that. So apologies, Justin Bieber. Shout out to you. Look, you can drop. You don't have to be angry, I guess. Look, it would hit better tomorrow or when we do this segment because it's just not fair. It's not fair. But look, Justin Bieber, we see you. It is, in fact, clocking to me that you are standing on business. People are, look, whatever. Well, sorry, Justin Bieber. We'll get back to you. We'll have to get back to your life. Hey, well, call me the paparazzi. Look, hey, I don't think I'm better. Call me the paparazzi doing some show on a man's life. We'll have to come back to it, though. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. Poetry. All right, folks, that's it from me. I'll be back tomorrow for more American Anchor, baby. Appreciate the support, the callers, the super chatters, the topics and all that. We done did the show, squeezed every drop out of it. That's it from me. I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, more American Anchor, baby. Open line Friday, Black Friday, the Hake Report, the Fallen State. But for now, take care. For real this time. Bye. Oh, Lil Nick 2's got to say bye-bye.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.